4 months, 120 days. XRP has been sitting at the same level since February. Bitcoin cannot break through its major resistance. The Clarity Act odds just dropped from 70% down to 50%. And yet, every single structural signal underneath the price action is pointing in one direction. Today we break down exactly where we are in this cycle, why the accumulation phase is the most important phase, and what happens to crypto when clarity finally passes. This is XRP Verified. Let us get into it. Let us start with the Clarity Act, because this is the single most important catalyst for the entire crypto market right now, and the timeline is getting tighter. Senator Cynthia Lummis, alongside multiple other senators and the White House, is pushing hard to get the Clarity Act passed this summer. The bill just cleared committee, but the odds of it passing this year have dropped from 70% down to approximately 50%. And here is why that happened. The legislative calendar is brutal. The Reconciliation Bill, FISA, the Housing Bill, and now immigration legislation are all competing for the same floor time. There are only 4 working weeks in June and 3 in July before the August recess. And every week that passes without a floor vote makes the math harder. The Senate still needs to reconcile 2 different committee versions of the bill. Ethics language needs a 3rd committee approval. Technical refinements need to align with the Genius Act. And after all of that, 60 votes are needed to break a filibuster in a Senate where only 53 Republicans sit. At minimum, 7 Democrats need to cross the aisle. That is the real battle, not the committee vote that already happened. The 60-vote threshold that has not been secured yet. But here is what matters most, and this is the part the price action is hiding from most investors. The Clarity Act passing is not a question of if. It is a question of when. The last major industry operating in America without a real regulatory framework is not a free market advantage. It is a liability. Every institution that wants to deploy capital into crypto at scale is sitting on the sidelines waiting for legal certainty. Every bank that wants to integrate blockchain rails is waiting for the rulebook. Every corporate treasury that wants to use stablecoins for payments is waiting for clarity. That pressure does not decrease the longer the bill is delayed. It compounds. And when the bill finally passes, every single institution that has been waiting moves at the same time. That is not a gradual price increase. That is a structural re-rating of the entire market. Now let us talk about where XRP actually is right now, because 120 days of sideways price action is either the most frustrating thing in crypto or the most valuable setup, depending on how you understand market cycles. Since February, through March, April, and all of May, XRP has been consolidating at the same level. No major pump, no major collapse, just steady accumulation. Look at the comparison to the last major catalyst. When the Genius Act passed and when Trump won the election, the market moved before most retail investors had time to react. The price reflected the news before the news was fully understood. That pattern repeats in every market cycle. By the time the green candle appears and the move is obvious, the accumulation phase is already over. The investors who positioned during the quiet period capture the move. The investors who wait for confirmation buy after the move has already happened. 120 days of consolidation is not a failure of the thesis. It is the thesis playing out exactly as it always does. And while the price has been quiet, the fundamentals underneath it have been anything but. The XRP ledger just hit $4.8 billion in real-world asset tokenization and is accelerating. RLUSD crossed $1.34 billion in 24-hour transaction volume. Ripple Prime integrated with EDX markets, backed by Citadel Securities, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, and Sequoia Capital. The Reserve Bank of Australia validated RLUSD for sovereign debt settlement through Project Acacia. XRP ETFs pulled in $42 million in net inflows last week, while Bitcoin ETFs bled $1.4 billion. 900 million XRP is approaching locked custody in US spot ETFs alone. These are not future projections. These are current confirmed data points, happening during the same 120 days that the price has been flat. Now let us address Bitcoin, because the broader market context matters for XRP. Bitcoin is currently sitting below major resistance and struggling to break through. The confidence that existed when the Genius Act passed and when the election result came in, that confidence is not at that level right now. The market knows that clarity has not passed yet. The market knows that the legislative timeline is tight, and the market is pricing in that uncertainty. The SEC's decision to delay tokenized stocks earlier this month created a significant sell-off because it reminded the market that regulatory progress is not linear. One step forward, one step back. But here is the pattern. Every time a regulatory delay has spooked the market in the past 2 years, the price recovered and then exceeded the previous high when clarity eventually arrived. The pattern has not broken, it has repeated. The geopolitical picture is also shifting in a way that matters for markets. President Trump has called for all parties involved in the Iran peace negotiations to join the Abraham Peace Accords, signaling that the administration is pushing for a broader and more permanent resolution to Middle East tensions rather than just a temporary ceasefire extension. If a more durable agreement emerges, the risk premium that has been suppressing global markets, including crypto, gets removed. Fear exits. Capital returns to growth assets, and crypto, specifically the utility assets with real institutional adoption, captures that returning capital disproportionately. The SpaceX IPO is also creating an interesting dynamic. A significant amount of investor attention and capital is currently rotating toward traditional equities as SpaceX prepares to go public. This is temporary. Pre-IPO excitement draws capital from other asset classes for a defined period. When that rotation completes, that capital looks for the next high asymmetry opportunity. And nothing in the current market offers the asymmetry that a utility asset with confirmed institutional infrastructure, approaching 900 million in ETF custody, and a pending regulatory catalyst offers. Let me bring all of this together. The Clarity Act odds dropped to 50%, but the structural need for it has never been stronger. 120 days of XRP consolidation is the accumulation phase before the catalyst. Bitcoin is sitting at resistance, waiting for regulatory confirmation. The institutional infrastructure underneath XRP, DTCC integration, Wall Street partnerships, central bank validation, real-world asset growth, has never been more developed. The legislative calendar is tight, but the bill is moving. And when it passes, the institutions that have been waiting will not wait any longer. The market will not give the majority of retail investors time to react. The move happens before the confirmation is fully processed. Every cycle, without exception, stay informed, stay patient, stay positioned. If this video gave you real value today, subscribe to XRP Verified. I cover these developments every single day, so you always know what is happening before the rest of the market figures it out. I will see you in the next one.